Hi everybody, I hope you're having a great day. In this video I'm going to be covering Kratos. He made his first appearance in the video game God of War in 2005, but he made his first comic book appearance in a Wildstorm publication in March of 2010, but the final issue was delivered in January of 2011, being published by DC Comics. Now, although he was originally pegged at being about 6 feet 6 inches tall and weighing 240 pounds, according to a special feature of the God of War 3 video game, he stands over 8 feet tall, also having hazel eyes and a bald head. He's considered a demigod whose family includes his father being Zeus, his mother being Callisto, his brother being Deimos, his first wife being Lysandra, and his daughter with her being Calliope. And he has a son from an unnamed second spouse named Atreus, his grandfather being Kronos and his grandmother being Rhea. Kratos has vast superhuman strength, being able to overpower monsters, titans, and even Hercules himself, who was known for being unrivaled in sheer strength. Some examples of this strength includes him being able to use his bare hands to prevent Titans Atlas and Kronos from crushing him, as well as being able to wrestle and subdue many large and powerful beasts, including the Hydra. And when he went against Hercules, he showed that he was strong enough to stop his charges and force him back, while also being able to endure his bear hugs and even breaking free and beating him. Kratos also has superhuman stamina and enhanced speed and agility, being able to keep up with beings that have super speed, such as Zeus, Hermes, Pollux, and even the time bender Castor. He has greatly enhanced durability, being able to fall from great heights and walk away unharmed, getting crushed, stabbed, beaten, blasted, and burned by various different types of enemies and weapons. And this isn't even counting the fact that after he beat Ares, he gained immortality and near invulnerability to most all attacks. But if he happens to be injured, he does have a regenerative healing factor as well. Kratos is a very skilled and experienced warrior, showing a mastery of different forms of weapons and combat styles. This should be expected though, because as he aged, many of his fighting styles were learned from other gods, most notably Ares himself. And to round out his abilities, he has an enhanced intelligence and wisdom, being able to solve complex puzzles that were created by some of the best Greek architects. Now, to complement his natural abilities, he has several choice supernatural weapons that he uses. The most popular of these being the Blades of Chaos, which evolved over time to become the powerful Blades of Exile. These were his trademark jagged short swords that also had the powers of fire. He quite often used these to slice and impale enemies, as well as drag them towards him, while sometimes using them as tools like grappling hooks and to climb mountains with. A second popular weapon of his was the Bow of Apollo, which he could use to shoot flaming arrows in rapid succession, or to be charged to shoot one powerful arrow at a time. It also being noted that these arrows were unaffected by gravity. His third prominent supernatural weapon of choice was the Nemean cestus, and this was originally Hercules' weapon before Kratos took them for his own use and brutally beat Hercules to death with them. They were a pair of huge metal gauntlets that you wear on your fists that looked like lions' heads, and they exponentially increased the strength of their wielders. Now, Kratos was born in Sparta, where he and other children were tested to see if they had what it took to join the Spartan army. This was a warrior culture, and if they failed, the children would be sent to die in the mountains. Because of this, Kratos trained very hard with his brother Deimos so that they could one day join the Spartan army. One day while they were training, Sparta was attacked by Ares, Athena, and an army of centaurs, seeking a quote-unquote marked warrior that had been prophesied as the one who would one day destroy the gods. They decided that Deimos was that warrior, given the birthmarks on his body, and Ares took him. Kratos tried to stop him from taking his brother, but obviously Ares just slapped him away, scarring his face. Ares then raised his blade to the boy, but Athena stopped him, saying that they'd only come for Deimos. Athena then apologized to Kratos, but they still left with his brother as he helplessly watched. Losing his brother had a powerful impact on Kratos, who swore to never hesitate again. And in memory of his brother, he even put tattoos on his skin that were designed to resemble Deimos' birthmarks. Time went by and Kratos trained harder and harder, going on to join the Spartan army and even got married to a woman named Lysandra, with whom he had a daughter named Calliope. But one day Calliope fell victim to a plague, and according to Spartan tradition, her weakness would have led to her being tossed into a chasm to die. But after learning about the healing elixir called ambrosia, Kratos set out to obtain it to save his daughter. What he didn't know is that he'd been chosen to act as Ares' champion in a bet between the gods, a contest between chosen champions where the winner would be the one to obtain the ambrosia. In other words, this was all just a big game put on by the gods. Kratos was able to get the help of an army of Spartans who would follow him, and eventually he encountered a healer that gave him the flames of Apollo to help. After some tough battles and even obstacles including the god Poseidon and his Atlanteans, he did survive, and he finally found the ambrosia. After all of this, and basically losing all of his soldiers in the process, he returned to Sparta and used the ambrosia to heal his daughter, this earning him the title of captain by the Spartan king. Kratos then went on to be a victorious military leader, slowly gaining thousands upon thousands of soldiers after only starting with 50. But his savagery grew, and his tactics reflected this, growing more unorthodox and brutal all the time, although still being very effective. Despite this, the Spartans eventually found themselves outmatched, and when Kratos was just about to be killed by a barbarian leader named Alrik, he called out to Ares, offering servitude if the war god destroyed his enemies. Ares instantly accepted and wiped out the barbarians, and gave Kratos the Blades of Chaos, this actually marking him as the god's minion. Kratos then went on to obey all of Ares' commands, conquering and slaughtering in the war god's name. But one day as he attacked a village that was dedicated to Athena, Ares tricked Kratos into killing his wife and child as he was in a berserker rage. Ares then explained that he'd done this because he wanted to make him the perfect warrior, having no ties to anything of love. But at this, the Spartan became enraged, and being consumed by grief, anger, and confusion, he left the bodies of his family to burn in the temple. At that point, the village oracle cursed Kratos so that the ashes of his family clung to his skin, turning it a pure white and giving him the name the Ghost of Sparta. From there on out, he regularly had terrible nightmares and visions of his family's death and his other past sins, which nearly drove him to the point of insanity. Kratos then left Sparta and found a bit of peace in traveling across the Aegean Sea. And in hopes of restoring his mind, he swore servitude to other Olympians, hoping they'd forgive his past atrocities and get rid of his nightmares. He traveled throughout Greece, battling monsters and Greece's enemies in the names of the gods. But to many observers, his ash-colored skin served as a mark of his sins, and the people viewed Kratos as a savage beast, with some preferring death as opposed to letting him save them. He would continue for 10 years in service to the gods, being driven by his desire for revenge on Ares. And after he accomplished his main mission of destroying Ares, he finally became the god of war. It's further noted that although vengeance was a major theme of the Greek era within the series, during the Norse era, Kratos takes a turn for the good and finds himself controlling his rage much better, while at the same time learning how to be a father to his new son Atreus, as they take on monsters and gods of the Norse realm. Now, due to his powers and abilities and his brief influence on the DC universe, as well as his very major influence on the God of War franchise, for my 1 to 10 rating, I'll give Kratos the God of War a rating of 10, which is a legendary rating. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you next time. Be sure to like and subscribe to The New Sage.
Can you kill something that big?